The moonlit meadow. Tonight opens like a quiet doorway, a silver edge in the dark, a breath that arrives without hurry. The moon is high and untroubled, a lantern with no handle, steady and kind. You stand at the boundary of an ancient meadow where time moves in long, gentle waves. Each wave is a breeze. Each breeze is a lullaby. Before you step forward, let your shoulders rest. Let the jaw go soft. Allow the brow to smooth. Inhale slowly through the nose, cool, easy, unforced. Exhale through the mouth, as if fogging a window you'll never have to clean. Again, in and out, until the air feels like a tide carrying you, and you are not swimming at all, you are floating. Grass glows in the moonlight as if the earth learned how to keep a handful of stars for itself. Dew sits like tiny pearls along the edges of each blade. When the wind passes, the dew trembles but does not fall. It's a steady shiver, a soft choir of glints. From somewhere close, crickets play delicate violin notes, a small orchestra tuned to night. A distant owl writes commas into the dark with a low, rounded hoo, and then the sentence rests again. Step into the meadow. The ground is tender underfoot, padded by ages of fallen leaves and forgotten petals, the kind of softness that forgives every footstep. Your pace finds a rhythm that belongs here, slow, softer, slower still. Every few steps, pause. Listen. The meadow speaks in careful syllables, breeze over blade, dew on leaf, a quiet click of seed heads meeting. Your breath settles into this grammar without trying. Ahead, a shape moves where the silver grass opens into a shallow bowl of moonlight. At first it is only shadow, low, broad, patient. Then the moon's edge lifts and the shape resolves, a triceratops, immense and unhurried, as calm as a hill that learned to walk. 3 horns arc from her head like polished crescents, not sharp tonight but ceremonial, a crown that belongs to the hours when the world is hushed. Her frill is wide and scalloped, a half-moon halo dappled with dusted pollen. She is not a tale told by thunder, she is a hymn sung by dusk. You watch her breathe. The rise. The fall. The pause in between that is not empty but full of welcome. In and out, there is a steadiness to her that the night seems to imitate. You feel your own ribs echo that rhythm, lift and ease, until the shape of your breath and the shape of hers are alike, 2 small boats on the same slow river. She grazes without hurry. The beak lowers to the tender tips of new grass and returns with the faintest whisper, a careful harvest that never harms the field. There's respect in the way she eats, an old agreement between herbivore and earth, renewed with every mouthful, I will take a little, and I will leave the meadow whole. Her forelimb shifts. Weight rolls through her shoulder in a smooth wave. Muscles gather and lengthen beneath skin textured like river stones warmed by sun, now cooled by the moon. The meadow breathes with her. You hear it, the quiet chest rumble that lives low and deep, a comfort engine idling at the level of the ground. It's more felt than heard, a velvet vibration that travels through soil and root and the bones of your ankles, up your legs, into the cradle of your ribs. The rumble does not ask you to stay awake. It invites you to stay. It says, safe. Here. Now. Draw closer by one step, then another, careful, leaving the grass the way you found it. Her ear flicks once, a small half circle in the air, not startled, simply aware. An eye, dark and glossy, turns toward you. In it, the moon makes a second home. There is no alarm, only acknowledgement, a shared understanding that night can hold more than one quiet creature at a time. Kneel, if you like. The ground is a soft friend. Feel the cool rising from the soil and the warmer air settling around your shoulders, a gentle blanket that tucks itself. In the near distance, the hush of a stream stitches silver through the low places, somewhere beyond that, tall fronds sweep each other in slow applause. Everything agrees to be easy. Your breathing returns to its counted tide, in for 4, hold for 2, out for 6, again, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If numbers blur, let them blur. Let them slide back into the grass. It's enough to know that the length of your exhale teaches your body what safety feels like. The longer the out-breath, the softer the edges of the day become. A moth the color of cream floats into the scene, drawn by the pale flowers that open only when the light is gentle. It drifts near your cheek and moves on, a scrap of moon with wings. The Triceratops lowers her head again and you notice the dew shining along the rim of her frill, a necklace borrowed from the meadow itself. She pauses to listen, head cocked slightly, one forefoot lifted. Somewhere in the grass a tiny creature rearranges its dreams and the night lets it sleep. If you reach out your attention, just attention, not the hand, the details gather of their own accord, the way her breath puffs in the cool air and curls like silk before it dissolves, the way grass springs back after her steps, unbroken, as if nudged by a kindly tide, the faint scent of green and sap and clean soil, the fragrance of a world that has nothing to prove. You realize your own thoughts have thinned, stretched into a gentle ribbon that flutters but does not tangle. Even the ribbon grows quiet. It knows when to rest. A breeze travels the length of the meadow like a rumor of rain that never arrives. Tall seed heads bow and rise. The sound is a soft brush, shhh, 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 not a command to be silent, but an invitation to let silence speak. The Triceratops turns slightly, angling her frill so that moonlight glides along its edges. The scallops become a row of small bays where silver pools. Her horns, pale sails, catch the light and let it go. Time spreads out. Minutes unbraid from each other and lie side by side like calm water. You are in one of those minutes, and then another, and none of them ask you to move faster than you want. The night is not counting. The night is cradling. You sit fully now, legs folded, hands resting on your thighs, palms open. Gravity is a kind hand at the center of your chest and along your shoulders, not heavy, just present. With your next inhale, imagine filling the back of the ribs, the low lungs where breath often forgets to visit. With your exhale, release anything that arrived with you but does not belong to this meadow, bright screens, unfinished lists, voices that do not whisper. Let them sink into the soil and become food for something green. The Triceratops takes 3 slow steps toward you, each one spaced by a pause, the way a careful drummer places beats with silence between. When she is close enough that you can hear the soft click of dew leaving the grass where her toes pass, she lowers her head in greeting, horns to either side, frill shading you for a gentle moment. It feels like standing under a living arch. You are not small here, you are right-sized. The world is not big here, it is the size of your breath. She huffs a warm sigh, and the air that reaches you carries the scent of crushed clover and quiet. There is a low note in that sigh, almost a purr, the kind that settles birds in their nests and asks wildflowers to close their eyes. The note gathers in your chest and stays. You notice that you could yawn, and you do, a friendly yawn that makes the eyes water just enough to clear whatever was left of the day. If sleep is a lake, you have walked to its edge and slipped your feet in. The water is the perfect temperature. You could stay here for a very long time. Above, the moon inches its way along a well-worn path. Stars hang patient and unblinking. A thin stripe of cloud crosses the sky like a soft scarf and then melts. In that clean, open dome, your mind finds room to widen and then, paradoxically, to rest. You remember nothing you need to remember. You forget nothing that matters. The night keeps watch on your behalf. The Triceratops returns to her grazing, circling you in a slow protective loop you don't fully see so much as feel. Wherever she goes, the ground hums. Wherever she stands, the air sweetens. You are wrapped in ordinary miracles, the way grass lifts due to the light, the way breath needs no instruction to continue, the way the heart was made to take cues from peaceful things. Near your knee, a small fern uncurls a fraction more, as if accepting a late-night invitation. The uncurling is slow enough to teach patience, but not so slow you must wait. You are already part of it, your stillness is part of how it happens. Another breeze crosses the meadow, and with it comes a new layer of sound, a quieter layer beneath the quiet, the soft tap of distant water slipping through stones, a silver thread sewn between darker threads. If thoughts try to rise again, give them a meadow job. Let them count the silhouettes in the distance, 3 low mounds that are not rocks, the sleeping shapes of other gentle giants spread far apart like islands. Let them name the colors that night invents, not black, but deep blue, not gray, but moth wing, not white, but moon on water. When they are busy with simple tasks, the thoughts grow calm and then drift off like workers sent home before dawn. The Triceratops lifts her head and looks toward the tree line. It is not alarm. It is awareness, the way a lighthouse turns to see every side of the sea. Her tail sways once, a pendulum that knows no hurry. She chuffs again, a sound like a kind drum asking, ready to walk? You are. But there's no need to rise yet. The walk will be slow. The path has been waiting for millions of nights, it can wait a few breaths more. For one last minute in the meadow, close your eyes. See the afterimage of silver, the gentle negative where light used to be. Feel your forehead smooth as if the moon had placed a cool hand there. Hear the low rumble of the earth's oldest lullaby, sung by a creature who learned it from the land itself. In and out, perhaps a little slower now, the edges of each breath softening, the space between them widening like calm water widening into a small, safe bay. When you open your eyes again, the world has not changed and yet it has. The meadow remains a bowl of gentle gleam. The crickets continue their delicate score. The dew is still diligent. But you are quieter inside, a bell that has rung and now hums with a fading, friendly tone. The Triceratops has already turned in the direction of the cypress shadows. She takes a single step and waits. Her patience is a bridge you can cross. You rise, and the ground lifts you as much as you leave it. Your balance is a conversation with the earth. I will lean, will you hold me? And the earth answers, as it always does, yes. You place your hand, just briefly, against the air near her into the whispering forest. The meadow closes softly behind you, its tall silver grass folding in like a curtain, sealing the memory of dew and moonlit hush in a chamber you may always return to. Ahead, the air grows cooler. The scents deepen. There is a new music here, low and leafy, shaped by trunks and boughs that have known far more nights than can be counted. The Triceratops steps with unhurried certainty. Her weight is immense, yet the forest seems prepared for her. Ferns bend and rise again, unharmed, as though they've learned this rhythm through countless visits. Cypress roots arc across the ground like ancient ribs, guiding her path, and she does not stumble. She does not rush. She knows. You fall in behind her, a traveler with no need for a map. Her frill catches the moonlight that filters between branches, each scalloped edge holding a silver coin of brightness for a breath, then releasing it as she moves. The horns tilt forward slightly, not to warn but to part the air, like prows of a steady ship cutting a calm sea. Listen. The forest has many voices, and they all speak in whispers. Leaves rub together high above, writing soft syllables you can't translate but still understand. Drips of water fall from the last rain, striking moss with tiny notes that fade before they echo. Small insects hum, not in irritation but in devotion, steady as monks reciting their prayers. Somewhere to the right, far off but still present, a brook moves over stones in a series of pauses, rushing in some places and barely murmuring in others. Breathe in. The air is denser here, cool with shade, thick with the resin scent of pine and the sweetness of damp earth. Breathe out. The lungs lengthen with relief, unspooling like rolls of soft cloth. You can imagine the trees inhaling with you, their vast, hidden roots drawing life from the ground. The Triceratops hums again, that low chest vibration, steady as a drum you feel in your knees more than in your ears. She pauses to nose at a shrub, choosing only the most delicate new leaves. Her patience teaches you the difference between hunger and hurry. She is never hurried. She is fed by abundance that has no reason to run out. Her tail sways once, brushing ferns, and in that motion the forest seems to nod. You realize the trees are not still. They lean, ever so slightly, with the wind's suggestions, and when they sway together, the whole canopy moves like a tide pulled by some invisible moon. You walk in rhythm with it. Step, pause. Step, pause. Inhale, exhale. A meditation written in bark and shadow. Deeper in, the light shifts. Moonbeams cut long, slanted aisles between tree trunks. Dust motes drift like a slow snowfall, pale flecks suspended as if time has grown drowsy. You watch one of them descend all the way to the soil, spiraling, before landing softly and disappearing. In that moment, you notice how your thoughts spiral too, soft, slow, downward into rest, and when they land, they dissolve, no longer urgent, no longer heavy. At one point, the Triceratops halts. She tilts her great head, listening. You follow her stillness, waiting. The forest answers. A night bird trills, thin and sweet, then goes silent again. A lizard scurries across dry leaves, quick as a thought you don't need to keep. Then calm returns, wide and uninterrupted. She takes another step, satisfied, and you do the same. The ground here is soft, layered with centuries of fallen needles, petals, and leaves. Your feet sink slightly, cushioned, held. With every step, the forest absorbs your weight and returns only comfort. It is like walking on memory itself, old, deep, forgiving. You notice your breath again. In through the nose, cool, shaded, almost minty with cypress. Out through the mouth, warm, relaxed, carrying away what no longer matters. Count if you like. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Let the numbers fade when they wish. Let the breath carry itself, guided now by the quiet pace of the Triceratops. As the forest deepens, you see fungi glowing faintly along a rotting log, a constellation on the ground. They shine with a soft green luminescence, as if the stars have spilled from the sky to live among the roots. Fireflies drift between trunks, carrying their own lanterns in unhurried arcs. For a moment you cannot tell where the forest ends and the night sky begins. Both are filled with slow, blinking lights, guardians of drowsy travelers. The Triceratops moves forward, and you follow her outline, a living hill, a moving monument. Each step presses deeper into your calm. Each exhale unwinds another knot. Ahead, the path widens briefly into a clearing. The moon spills freely here, painting the cypress bark with long pale strokes. The Triceratops stops, breath rising in clouds. She turns to you slightly, as if offering the space. You sit among ferns, feeling their cool fronds brush your arms. Above, the branches lace together, but here and there, stars peek through, twinkling as if to say, yes, still here, still watching. You lean back, supported by earth. Close the eyes for a while if you wish. Listen to the slow rumble of her breath. Feel how it steadies yours. Her presence is not loud. It is not demanding. It is simply here, like gravity, like sleep. The forest cradles you. Trunks are the ribs of some ancient being, and you are curled safely inside its chest. Every sound, the brook, the insects, the wind through the leaves, is a heartbeat. Every shift of shadow is a dream moving gently past. When you open your eyes again, the Triceratops has begun to walk once more. She waits until you rise. Together you continue along the winding cypress corridor, guided now by moonbeams that act as silver stepping stones. Each one leads deeper. Each one leads slower. Each one leads closer to rest. The forest whispers, and you understand without words. The still pond of stars. The forest path narrows and then opens again, the way breath narrows in the throat before it flows freely through the chest. You follow the steady weight of the Triceratops as she winds between cypress trunks, her massive horns brushing beams of silver light aside. The hum of insects fades here, replaced by a hush that feels deliberate, as if every voice of the woods has agreed to quiet itself for what waits ahead. The scent changes first. You notice the cool, watery perfume of moss, fresh and clean, like rain remembered. It gathers on your tongue before you even see water. The ground slopes downward, a gentle descent, padded by roots that braid across the earth like dark ropes. Each step is slow, but there is no need for hurry. You are descending into calm, into a deeper stillness where the world reflects itself. Then, the trees part. A pond stretches before you, oval and wide, its surface so still it looks like a black mirror laid into the earth. The moon hangs in it, full and round, doubled. Stars scatter across it, every shimmer of sky answered by a twin in the water. It is difficult to tell where the heavens end and the earth begins. The boundary dissolves. Sky and pond become one. The Triceratops steps to the edge, lowering her massive head. Ripples begin where her beak touches the surface, small widening circles that bend the reflected stars into gentle waves. She drinks slowly, each swallow a patient motion, her throat muscles shifting under rough skin. When she lifts her head again, droplets fall in silver arcs, returning to the pond with soft plinks that fade as quickly as they arrive. You kneel beside her, leaning forward until your reflection meets hers. Two shapes on the water's edge, one small, one immense, both softened by moonlight. The pond holds you equally, making no distinction between size or age. To the water, all are reflections, all are quiet shapes on its dark glass. A firefly drifts low, its lantern pulsing, then hovers above the water. Its light doubles in the reflection, as if a twin insect hovers beneath the surface. Soon others join it, drifting across the pond's edge in glowing arcs, slow and drowsy. Their reflections make a second swarm below the surface, and for a long moment you cannot tell if the fireflies belong to the air or to the pond's dream. The Triceratops exhales, and her breath drifts across the surface like a veil, momentarily blurring the moon. The ripples widen, carrying your reflection outward. The water does not reject you, it simply folds you into its pattern, reshaping you as part of its calm. Sit back on the moss. Feel its cushion, damp but forgiving, cool but not uncomfortable. It presses against your spine like the softest mattress, reminding your body how to be heavy, how to let go. You rest your hands on your lap, palms up, fingers loose, and notice how the night air moves across your skin, cool at first, then warm as your body meets it halfway. Breathe. Count if you wish. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Let your exhale travel across the water as if the pond itself were breathing with you. When you inhale again, imagine drawing in the silver reflection of the stars, letting them fill the hollow spaces behind your ribs. When you exhale, imagine releasing every burden into the pond, where it dissolves like ink in water, untraceable, forgiven. The forest around the pond begins its quiet chorus again. Crickets take up their violins, softer this time, as if playing to soothe the water. A frog croaks once, low and rounded, then falls silent. The breeze ruffles a fringe of reeds at the far edge, the sound like 100 whispered shhhs layered atop each other. Each sound joins the others, but none competes. Together they form a cradle, a lullaby older than memory. The Triceratops lowers herself slowly, bending her front legs and easing her body down until she rests at the pond's edge. Her bulk is immense, but her descent is careful, controlled. The ground accepts her weight as if it has done so many times before. She folds her legs, tucks her tail along the moss, and exhales again, her rumble spreading across the earth in a soothing vibration. It pulses into your bones, a sound so low you feel it more than you hear it. You realize she is at rest now, not simply grazing, not simply drinking. She has chosen to sit. And because she has chosen to sit, you may too. The night tells you that no guard is needed. The pond tells you that nothing urgent waits beyond its rim. The Triceratops tells you that stillness is strength. Close your eyes if you wish. Behind your lids, you still see stars. They float, they pulse, they drift slowly. Your mind begins to mimic them, thoughts blinking in and out, not sharp, not demanding, just points of gentle light in a vast dark sky. One by one, they fade, until only space remains. A ripple crosses the pond, perhaps from a fish, perhaps from the breath of night itself. It spreads outward in widening circles until it reaches the edges and returns again, gentler each time, until it disappears. Your breath is that ripple now, in, out, softer, softer still, until even the edges of your body seem to blur into the moss. Somewhere overhead, an owl hoots, long and low. The sound travels across the water, carrying distance inside it. It is not a warning. It is a marking of time, a way to remind you that the night is wide enough for everyone, wide enough for silence and sound to coexist. You tilt your head back, and the canopy parts above you just enough to reveal the great belt of stars arching across the sky. They shine without judgment, without expectation. You are not required to count them. You are not required to name them. You are only required to notice that they shine, and that noticing is enough. The Triceratops hums again, softer now, her massive body vibrating like a slow drum played far beneath the earth. You feel it under your palm when you press it lightly to the ground. The vibration passes into you, reminding you of heartbeat, reminding you of continuity. It says, you are part of this rhythm. You are not outside it. You are carried, as we are all carried. The pond reflects all of it, the stars, the fireflies, the moon, the dinosaur, and you. In the reflection, there is no separation, no distance. All belong to the same dark mirror, all are equal in its glass. Let your breath lengthen again. In, out, each time slower, each time softer. Imagine yourself as another star on the pond's surface, glowing faintly, steady and calm. Whether you shine above or below does not matter. You are here, and you are reflected, and that is enough. Time drifts. Minutes blur into each other like ripples fading on water. You may have closed your eyes again without realizing. You may have lost count of the breaths. That is right. That is good. Sleep moves closer not with effort but with surrender. The pond is teaching you how to surrender. At last, the Triceratops stirs. She rises slowly, pushing her massive body upright with steady care. The pond ripples again from her movement, a last widening circle. She turns her great head toward the path beyond the clearing, as if to say, it is time to continue. You rise too, unhurried, leaving no mark on the moss that will not heal before dawn. Together, you step away from the water's edge. The pond remains behind, holding your reflection for a moment longer before it, too, dissolves into stillness. The stars above and below merge once more into one sky, and the night guides you toward the ancient plains that wait beyond the trees. Across the ancient plains, the last of the trees stand aside with the grace of patient ushers, and the world opens. The forest's close whisper loosens into distance, and the night stretches so wide that the moon seems higher than before, more spacious, more certain. You and the Triceratops step out onto a sweep of ancient plains where the grass moves like the surface of a sleeping sea. Pause here. Let your eyes adjust to the wideness. Your chest understands it first, the way a deep, open view quietly lengthens the breath. In, let the horizon in, out, let the horizon go. You are not small out here, you are right-sized in a wide, kind room. The grass is waist-high in places, low and velvety in others, a patchwork of textures that glint where moonlight lays its hand. Seed heads tilt, each with a faint halo of dew, and when the wind travels, slow, deliberate, almost thoughtful, it choreographs 1,000 little bows that pass from hill to hill like a message of peace. Far away, a ridge rises, gentle as a shoulder beneath a blanket. Closer, a shallow swale gathers the silver of sky, a temporary river of light. The Triceratops walks without hurry, and the plains make way for her as if they have always known her shape. Her horns draw clean arcs against the sky. Her frill catches moonlight and releases it in slow pulses when she turns her head. Dust lifts around her feet and settles as if reluctant to be anywhere she is not. With each step, that familiar, low chest hum travels the ground, a steady lull that keeps time with your own breath. Listen, and you will hear the song of open places, the brushed hush of grass against itself, the low, rounded note of wind moving across hollow spots in the earth, the occasional soft click of stones touching when the air nudges them. No echo returns. The sound is absorbed by space itself, softened into a layer of quiet you can almost lie down on. At the edge of the swale, the Triceratops lowers her beak and takes a mouthful of tender shoots. The sound is a tiny tearing you only notice because the rest is so calm. She chews slowly, patient as stars. When she lifts her head, you see a crescent of pale pollen dusted along her frill, as if the moon had signed its name there. She breathes, and you match it again without effort. Inhale, a slow rise, exhale, a longer fall, the outbreath lengthening like a shadow at dusk. The sky here is generous. Clouds look like thin veils tugged gently across constellations that have not missed a night in longer than memory. You might find old friends up there, patterns you learned long ago, or you might simply accept the spread of pinprick light without sorting it. Sorting can wait. Naming can wait. The plains are a lesson in being carried by what you don't need to hold. In the distance, something answers the night. A low call, rounded, resonant, rolls over the grass and arrives as a felt tone more than a sound. Then another, further off, a call and response across miles. A herd, perhaps. Other gentle giants, grouped loosely like islands across the sea of stems. No alarm. Only presence. The calls are not asking questions. They are saying, I am here. You are here. We are safe under this one sky. You walk on, and the moonlight draws soft shadows under your steps, brief sketches that erase themselves when the grass rises again. Occasionally a patch of ground appears bare, pale clay reflecting the night as if someone had polished a small piece of earth for you to notice. On one of these patches, you see footprints, older, weather-softened, three-toed impressions moving in a slow, looping line that fades into the glinting grass. The past is not gone out here. It simply shares the room and speaks in a low voice when spoken to. Breathe deeper. The air is cooler than in the forest, washed clean by distance. It smells of crushed stems and a hint of stone, a mineral brightness like rain that hasn't yet fallen. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6, perhaps 8 now, and if counting slips away, let it. The plains count for you, measuring time in the long sweep of wind and the way the Triceratops' shoulders rise and settle. She angles toward a slight rise, leading you up where the view spreads farther. The climb is easy, the slope measured. At the crest, the land unfurls in a slow sigh. You can see the faint threads of game paths, braided trails that diverge and converge like quiet thoughts coming together and then wandering apart. Small glitters suggest dew gathered in shallow hollows. A single, lone tree stands far off, no more than an inkstroke on the horizon, keeping a private promise with the sky. Here, the Triceratops stops and stands broadside to the moon, a living monument carved from calm. She turns her head, and for a moment her near horn slices neatly along the lunar edge, a silvered knife laid perfectly against a round loaf of light. You realize how steady your gaze has become, how your eyes rest on one thing at a time, staying as long as they like, leaving without hurry. This is the vision of sleep, ungrasping, unpushed, wide. A breeze lifts and deepens, threading through the grass in long, low waves that brush your calves and whisper at your ankles. The sound moves around you, shoulder to shoulder, ear to ear, stroking the nervous system like a familiar hand. The spine softens, the jaw unhooks, the tongue rests heavy and easy in the mouth. If a yawn comes, let it open the back of the throat like a doorway to ease. The body knows which doors to unlock when the night is kind. You begin to notice the tiny lives of the plain. A small beetle crosses a bare patch, legs ticking like the hands of a very slow clock. A night moth settles on a seed head, wings closing like folded parchment. A distant cluster of low flowers keeps a pale glow well after sunset, moon blooming, perfuming the air with a thin, sweet thread you catch only when you stop moving. Each small life is a bead on the necklace of the night, and the strand is so long there is no need to count. The Triceratops tilts her head, listening to something you cannot yet hear. You follow her stillness and then you hear it too, not a call, but a hush deeper than the hush you are in, the kind of quiet that comes before a change in the wind. It arrives, a gentle shift, turning the grass the other way so that the plains now ripple back toward the forest you left. The change asks nothing of you. It is merely another page turned by a careful hand. She steps forward again, and the hum beneath your feet resumes. With each step, your attention drifts a little further from the edges of wakefulness. You are walking, but it is the kind of walking that dreams allow, where distance closes politely and the body feels lighter than its shape. You might remember a path like this from somewhere else, a beach at dusk, a field behind a childhood house, a long hallway in a quiet museum. The memory isn't necessary. The feeling is enough. On a broader swell of ground, you and she pass through a swath of shorter grass. Here, the wind presses it all the same way, and the moon draws pale lines along every blade like writing you cannot read. Perhaps it says, rest. Perhaps it says, no one needs you for anything now. Perhaps it says nothing and is only beautiful. You do not have to decide. Far on your left, the low calls swell again. Very far, so far they sound nearly inside your chest rather than out in the world. Something heavy shifts and then settles, like a large body choosing a better pillow of earth. The night accommodates everything. The night has room for your breath, room for your tired shoulders, room for her wide, strong feet and the old lullaby they play on the ground. If you like, breathe in rhythm with her steps, in as the right forefoot lifts, out as it lowers, in as the left lifts, out as it returns. The pattern is simple. It demands nothing. It is a porch swing in the dark, moving just enough to say you are not forgotten. You crest another low hill and find a surprise, a ribbon of shallow water barely as wide as the length of her foot, flowing clear and thin. The moon lies along it like a dropped scarf. She pauses to drink, not from thirst alone but from habit, honoring old paths and old wells. The little stream gossips quietly against pebbles and then guides you both across a stone that seems to know its job. On the other side, the earth resumes its broad, grass-lidded gaze. Time loosens further. The future shrinks to the next breath, then to the current breath, then to the pause between breaths which, you realize, is not empty at all. It's a soft room. The Triceratops stands on its threshold whenever she stops. You stand there too, and when you move on, the room moves with you, always available, always open, lit by a nightlight the moon forgot to turn off. Your feet grow warm and pleasantly heavy. The calves soften, the knees drift toward comfort. The lower back lengthens as if it remembers being part of a wider tide. If you had worries when you entered the plains, they have become very large and very far away, like distant hills that belong to another traveler on another night. The Triceratops changes course by a few degrees, angling toward that distant inkstroke tree you noticed earlier. As you draw nearer, it reveals itself to be more than a tree, a small stand of hardy shrubs and a scattering of stones, a tiny language of shelter in a wide grammar of openness. She pauses there, not to hide but to greet. Her head dips, horns threading the shadow. A moth launches from a leaf and returns. All is accepted, as easily as breath. Beyond the stand, the plains shift again, the grass shorter and more downy, the soil smoother, almost velvet. Here the wind sounds different, lower and more rounded, as if the land is speaking from its diaphragm. The sound makes you yawn again, the kind that loosens the ears and the corners of the eyes. If your lids want to fall for a few steps, let them. The ground is level. The night is watching kindly. The Triceratops is near. Overhead, the moon passes one thin cloud, then another, and each time the light dims slightly, the world becomes even gentler. When the cloud moves on, the light returns like a smooth pillow. You learn the lesson without words: brightness, dimness, brightness, each is part of the same safety. You begin to sense the land leaning upward, almost imperceptibly, a hint that hills live ahead. The change is too small to call a climb. It's more a suggestion, the way a blanket suggests the shape of someone beneath. Your breath answers with a trace more fullness. The Triceratops answers with a small increase in the push of her hind feet, powerful and quiet. Now, a distant scent arrives, riding the cooler thread of air that has found you, stone warmed long ago and cooling now, a mineral whisper. Caves, perhaps. Not deep, not dark with worry, but shallow places where the night collects itself, where wind slows to listen, where creatures rest with their backs to the earth and their faces to the open world. The idea of a cave is not a command. It is an option you can say yes to when the time comes. The hills and the hidden cave. The plains recede behind you like a long breath exhaled, and the land begins to gather itself into quiet folds. Hills rise, not sharply but gently, their slopes rounded as if shaped by a million soft hands over endless ages. The grass grows shorter here, clipped by wind, and small stones scatter across the soil like stars fallen too low. The Triceratops walks with measured power, her bulk climbing steadily without strain. She knows these hills. Her horns tilt toward the incline, her frill shimmering whenever the moonlight brushes it. Each step presses into the slope and leaves a print that looks less like a mark of weight and more like an agreement with the ground. I will step, and you will hold me. You follow in her path, noticing how the hill accepts your own feet as well. The climb is easy, like being lifted rather than having to push. Each inhalation fills more deeply, the cool hill air threaded with mineral scent, sharp yet soothing, the perfume of stone cooling after long memory of day. Each exhale carries away the last traces of plains dust clinging to your mind. Pause. Turn your gaze back once. The plains stretch vast and silver, fading into their own horizon. It looks like an ocean that has forgotten how to wave, lying flat and calm beneath the moon. You realize you've carried no weight from it, only its breath, still steady inside your lungs. Then you face forward again, and the hills invite you further. The slope evens into a small plateau. Here, wind gathers and curls, playing a deeper song, low and rounded as if the earth itself were humming through hollow pipes. The Triceratops answers with a soft rumble in her chest, a harmony. For a moment the ground beneath you seems to vibrate with both tones, your bones joining in, a living chord. You notice how the land changes its details. Where the plains were a sea of grass, the hills were cloaks of moss and patches of hardy shrubs, their leaves dark and shiny, catching moonlight in small mirrors. Pebbles glitter underfoot, tiny shards of quartz and mica that flash like forgotten constellations. Sometimes your steps crunch faintly, but even that sound is softened, as if stone has agreed to be gentle tonight. Ahead, the slope dips again, curling into a shallow hollow. You and the Triceratops descend together, her great body moving like a slow wave down the incline. At the hollow's heart, you find it, a cave mouth, low and wide, shaped less like a wound in the earth and more like a doorway carved for rest. Not a place of fear. A place of shelter. Its edges are smooth, stone-worn, friendly by ages of wind and water. The air changes here. It cools, carrying a faint echo, smelling of mineral dampness mixed with the green breath of nearby moss. Step closer. Listen. A single droplet falls somewhere inside, striking stone with a tone so pure it sounds like a bell rung in a temple. Then silence. Then another drop, slower, softer. The cave speaks in patience. The Triceratops lowers her head as if bowing to the entrance, then moves inside with calm assurance. You follow, ducking only slightly, and enter a space that welcomes you with stillness. The interior is shallow, not dark enough to swallow the moonlight. The silver glow follows you in, laying across the cave floor in broad, soft patches. The walls are textured with ripples, evidence of long ago water. They shine faintly where mica veins run through, tiny stars caught in stone. The air is cooler, steady, a balm against the skin. The Triceratops settles in the center, folding her legs beneath her massive body. The sound of her lowering is a gentle thunder, deep but without violence. She exhales, and the cave responds, carrying her rumble along its curved walls, amplifying it into a resonance that seems to live in your own chest. The sound is low, even, and endless, an earthbound lullaby. Sit against the wall, letting the stone hold your back. It is firm, yes, but it shares its coolness generously, easing the muscles, aligning the spine. Close your eyes for a moment. Hear the rumble. Hear the droplet. Hear your breath as it blends with both. Inhale, the cave fills with your presence. Exhale, the cave grows wider, as if it expands to fit you. Each cycle slower, longer, softer, until even the pauses between breaths feel inhabited, not empty. The cave hums with history. You sense it, the countless nights when rain tapped its entrance, when wind sang into its hollow, when creatures like you, two-legged or four, rested inside, unafraid. The memory of all those rests is here. You are not the first to close your eyes against these walls, and you will not be the last. This knowledge soothes you. It says, you belong to a long lineage of sleep. The Triceratops sighs, a slow, shuddering breath, and lowers her head until her frill nearly touches the floor. Her eye closes, a gleam fading into calm darkness. Her sides rise and fall, massive but quiet, the rhythm unmistakably sleeps. She dreams, perhaps of younger plains, perhaps of nothing at all. Her horn tips gleam once more in a shaft of moonlight, then dull as her breath evens. You mirror her without trying. Your eyelids grow heavy, your head tilts slightly to one side. The stone wall supports you as a friend might, steady and unwavering. Your thoughts thin into fragments, a flicker of stars seen through the entrance, a whisper of wind curling in, a remembered warmth of moss underfoot. They pass like images in shallow water, rippling, dissolving. Another droplet falls. Another sigh rises from her chest. Another exhale leaves your own lungs. Each sound and motion braids into one rope that ties you gently to the present. The cave is a cradle. The hill is a pillow. The earth is a blanket. Time loosens. Minutes drift like dust motes in moonlight, visible for a moment, then gone. You may yawn again. Let it happen, a doorway opening to deeper rest. The yawn is not weakness. It is permission. Somewhere in the deeper quiet, you notice a shift. Not outside. Not in her. In you. The body grows heavier yet freer, the mind lighter yet steadier. Sleep is no longer approaching. Sleep is here, waiting with open hands. But not all at once. The story still carries you. The Triceratops still breathes. The cave still hums. You remain awake enough to notice, and drowsy enough not to care how much time has passed. Outside, the hills cradle the night. The wind turns its pages slowly, a book no one needs to finish. Inside, stone and breath and silence weave a lullaby that has no ending. Rest here as long as you need. When you rise, it will be gentle. When you follow her again, it will be slow. For now, you are in the hollow of the world, and the hollow holds you perfectly. Moon's farewell. The cave has been your cradle, the Triceratops your guardian, the hills your soft walls of safety. Now, as the night deepens toward its final hours, the world begins to change in gentle, unhurried ways. The air outside stirs faintly with a cooler edge, and the long silence begins to hum with the promise of dawn. The Triceratops shifts in her rest. One massive shoulder rises, then falls again, slow as a tide. Her breathing remains steady, the sound of stone remembering the sea. She does not wake, she only adjusts, resettling into the earth's palm. You remain seated against the wall, the stone cool at your back, your own breathing drawn into the rhythm of hers. Together, you are one long inhale, one longer exhale. Listen. The droplet in the cave falls again, a note like a clock with no urgency. Between each drop is an eternity. Between each eternity, you drift. You notice the sky through the cave mouth. The stars are dimmer now, fewer, as if they are tucking themselves under the horizon, preparing to sleep as you are. The moon has lowered, but it still shines, a caretaker walking slowly toward its rest. Its light stretches in an angled beam across the cave floor, softening the stone into velvet. Rise slowly, if only in your mind, and walk with the Triceratops once more. She too stirs, rising with calm grace, first her forelegs, then her hind legs, her frill catching the fading moonlight. She moves toward the entrance, and you follow, step by step, out into the cool air of the hills. The night greets you with stillness. The plains lie behind, vast and silver. The forest is only a dark suggestion far away. The hills rise and fall like a sleeping body, and the cave you leave behind glows faintly, holding its silence for the next traveler. The Triceratops walks slowly along a ridge, her steps steady, her tail swaying in a slow arc. Her breath drifts in pale clouds, vanishing almost as soon as they appear. You match her pace, neither leading nor following, simply moving in tandem. There is no destination now. Only walking. Only breathing. The sounds are sparse but full, the whisper of grass brushing your ankles, the faint cry of a night bird far away, the low hush of wind sliding over stone. Each sound arrives like a gift, unwrapped in its own time, asking for nothing in return. Your body grows heavier with every step, pleasantly weighted, ready to rest. Shoulders loosen. Arms soften. Fingers uncurl. Legs feel sturdy yet drowsy, as though each joint has learned how to sigh. Even your thoughts, those last drifting motes, slow their spinning, settling like dust across a quiet shelf. The Triceratops pauses at the ridge's edge. She lowers her head once more, as if bowing to the night. You bow too, in your own way, not with the body but with the breath, a long inhale, a longer exhale, a surrender. The horizon begins to pale. Not sunrise yet, but a suggestion, the faintest silver seam where the dark fabric of night begins to fray. The stars fade one by one, shy candles extinguished. The moon lingers, unwilling to leave, watching over you a little longer. This is the moon's farewell, slow and kind. You sit on the ridge. The Triceratops settles beside you, folding her legs with careful grace. Together, you watch the sky shift. Together, you breathe. Her frill glows faintly in the last light, her horns tipped with silver, her massive body a monument of calm. Your eyelids grow heavier. The weight is not burden, it is invitation. You close them, and behind the lids the sky is still there, its stars still shining, its moon still patient. You do not need to hold it. It will wait for you. The Triceratops exhales one last deep rumble. It vibrates through the ground, through your bones, through your breath. It is the final lullaby of the night. It says, sleep now. You are safe. You are carried. You are home. Let yourself drift. Inhale gently. Exhale softer still. The body grows heavy. The mind grows light. The world grows quiet. The moon bows. The night closes its eyes. And you, here, now, wrapped in ancient calm, beside the gentle giant under the fading stars, sink into sleep.